Hi, so I'd first like to introduce myself. I'm Phaedra Haynes. I am specialising in family buy-to-lets. Over the past year, I have been mentored and educated in property investing by one of the best property investors in the country, who has had experience with over 1,000 properties bought in the last decade and 200 properties under his name. I am looking for someone who has the money to invest but lacks the time and experience, who would like to work with me to get a great return on their investment and begin a journey with me into building a growing property portfolio. In these next few slides, I will teach you how you can leverage your money and grow your portfolio whilst investing in the best areas in the UK and releasing your equity growth tax efficiently. So for this first example on leveraging our money, this is a property bought without a mortgage. So imagine this stickman here is you, and you have £100,000 to invest, and you go and purchase a property worth £100,000. Then, for instance, if the market goes up by 10%, you have had a £10,000 growth in equity on your investment. And shares work in the same way as this. However, we come to example 2, where properties have been bought with mortgages this time. So with your £100,000 investment, we are able to put 4 deposits of £25,000 each on 4 properties, as I always aim to gear at 75%, as I have learned it to be the safest. So now, when the market goes up by 10%, for instance, each property has had a £10,000 growth in equity, resulting in a £40,000 growth in equity in total, instead of just one single £10,000 equity growth if we were to buy just one property with our £100,000 investment. So, as a result of the 10% market growth on each house, we are now able to go to the bank and ask to remortgage at 75% of the new value of the house, which is £110,000, as you can see in the diagram. So 75% of this is £82,500. After we then pay off the existing mortgage on each of the properties, the additional money from the new mortgage can be used as released equity and is tax efficient. Therefore, this can either be used for a deposit on a 5th house to grow your portfolio, or this can be put back into your bank account. This next slide shows you the leveraging process, but with the benefit of buying our properties at a discount. So here are the same £100,000 value houses, but bought at a 20% discount. And we will be aiming for a 10 to 20% discount. And this has allowed us to put a deposit on a 5th house just with buying property with discount. So we have leveraged our investment further by another £100,000 just from doing this. When we go to the bank to remortgage after the market goes up, we are asking for a mortgage on the original value of the house, which is £100,000 plus the 10% growth. We are then able to release the equity growth of £112,500 in this example to deposit on another property and into your bank account, and so on. Here I have included a table to show you how we can take profits from property investing tax efficiently. So we have the property value, mortgage, which is geared at 75%, and equity. Now, as we go down, each figure increases with the 20% market growth. As you can see, each 20% growth allows us to release growing equity tax efficiently, which can be put back into your bank account or for another deposit on a house. The next slide shows the same thing but with a higher property portfolio value of over £1 million. As can be seen, the market only has to go up by 5% with this portfolio value in order to be able to put deposits on 1 or 2 houses or straight into your bank account. This next slide is another major key to our success in building a great property portfolio. These are the 6 most important rules I abide by when buying buy-to-lets. First, capacity. The property must be a 3 or 4 bed house. We are aiming for long-term families in our properties to reduce the risk of transiency. And we do not want to buy flats. So what do I mean by this issue of transiency and not buying flats? Well, let's say someone moves into a 2-bed house or flat and they meet their future partner and they move into a new house together, and then a year down the line they're having a child and the house they're in is going to be too small for the family they're planning to have. So we want to be eliminating the risk of this problem occurring. The average tenant change with family lets costs £1,500 by the time you've paid for any void period you've got, by the time you've paid for the new tenant find fee or any titivating you need to do. Sometimes it's zero, sometimes it's £3,000, but on average it's £1,500. You know, if you buy a property where a tenant on average changed once a year, over a decade, that's a £15,000 expense. If you've got 10 of those, it's now £150,000 a decade. That's a major problem. We want what I call lifers in our properties. Families that love the location, the children in the local secondary school, and they love living there and want to live there forever. Lifers, most of the time, tend to treat the property like they own it. If the door handle breaks, they fix it, and the walls need painting, they ring you and ask, do you mind if I paint the walls? And we'll be saying, no, that's fine, here's the paint, off you go. So we're saving on transiency costs and on maintenance costs. The next is city. House price trends in our chosen investment areas need to have had good growth over the last 2 years or so. This is an investment as well. We do not want to be choosing a property using our hearts. If the numbers work and we've abided by these rules, that's it. There's no reason why it wouldn't be a great investment. You do not want to be turning down a great investment opportunity due to the colour of the walls or carpet being a strange colour or the garden being a strange shape. If the numbers work, that is what's most important for us. This next point is check. Before we even purchase the property, we will be sending out an advert in the local newspaper of the property, and we must receive at least 10 replies from the advert in a week. If we don't, we don't buy. It does not matter if it ticks all the other boxes of these rules. If it doesn't tick this one, we walk away. Capital. Over the last 85 years, the property market in the UK is going up at 7.9% per annum on average. So we want to be aiming for around the national average. To ensure capital growth, there are a few mini rules I abide by. The property must be within a 2-mile radius of a secondary school with an Ofsted report of good or outstanding. It must have a great road network and public transport network, and finally must be close to a town or city. The 5th rule is cash flow. There must always be positive cash flow. We want profit. After mortgage, maintenance, insurance and letting agency fees have been deducted, there needs to be profit. We want this figure to be as high as possible, right? But with assuming the worst case scenario, we are going to assume that the property is empty for a month. So the total profit over 11 months needs to be enough to cover the 12 months costs where it is not tenanted. So here is the calculation we use to make sure profits are enough, which is the profit multiplied by 11, and what this equals must be higher than 1 month's rent. If it isn't, we leave the deal. No ifs or buts. This is so important. And finally, our last rule is contingency. I advise to always keep 4.5% of the investment money for contingency. That way, we always have money for the what ifs. You know, what if the boiler breaks? What if the tenant hasn't been paying the rent? And therefore, we feel safe in our investing. I have included a table here which shows house price data of UK cities over the last 2 years. As can be seen, prices in the Midlands and moving north up the country are rising well. We want to be investing in the areas that have had significant growth over the last 2 years to ensure of a secure and profitable property portfolio. So this slide is to just put into perspective the role of property investor versus property job. A property investor is usually just focused on the good investment, wherever it may be. You don't need to be in close proximity of the property, you don't even need to go and view the property. A good property investor builds an expert team in the areas they have their properties to call on if jobs need doing. So a property investor may invest 2 to 5 hours of their time each week. Now, someone with a property job will most likely have invested in properties local to them, and they get much more involved in the property. If things break, they'll be going round to fix them. They're like the handyman for the properties. This can be around 10 to 20 hours, even more a week. With Family Lets, we want our property investing journey to be a business that can run by itself, and this is the approach that a good property investor takes. So about me and what I'm specialising in. I am a property investor. I am focused on the good investment. I don't buy local to me, as this can soon turn into a property job that you didn't plan to have. You may plan to not get involved, but if the property is close to you, you are going to be more inclined to go there yourself and get involved in all sorts of jobs. For me, this is just added stress. Tenants will most likely be calling on you for little jobs because they know you'll come out, and therefore I won't buy local to me. I am specialising in family buy-to-lets. I have laser focused my knowledge to this strategy so that I can identify the best areas, the best properties, and always follow the main 6 rules to abide by when buying buy-to-lets. I believe there is less risk with family lets. They're essentially a business that can work by itself. Whereabouts am I planning to invest? After analysing recent house price data, I am looking to invest in Liverpool, reported one of the best buy-to-let areas in the UK recently, Middlesbrough. There's recently been a plan for a £20 million investment into the city, and Leeds, another city which has seen brilliant growth over the last 2 years, and this will most likely continue for a good many years due to the new HS2 line connecting Leeds to London. This slide shows you the 3 key elements that are involved in a successful joint venture partnership when it comes to property investing. These are experience, time, and money. So I have the time and the experience, and I am looking for someone with the money to invest so that we can work together to get a great return on investment and build a successful portfolio together. Here are some important qualities which I believe is needed in a great joint venture partner. And finally, thank you for taking your time to listen and learn with me in this presentation. Please get in touch if you have any questions and are interested in working with me. This is an opportunity to build and grow a successful property portfolio together and be on the journey to financial freedom. Here are all my contact details if you want to get in touch, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.